Artigo, our new podcast series. We are turning 10 next year, and we would love to share our stories and experiences with you. Our journey has taken us to many new places, and we've met wonderful people along the way. Through Artigo, we want to introduce you to some of our friends from across the country who have opened up their homes to welcome strangers, who have eventually become their friends as well. Artigo will give you a glimpse of their homes, their beautiful cities and villages, their culture, food, and of course, their amazing hospitality. So come travel with us. I am Nabiha Tasneem. I'm a project manager at the Outlook Responsible Tourism Initiative. And today we have with us Utsow Pradhan, founder owner of Tieedi. Welcome on board, Utsow.
Thank you, Nabiha.
And Utsow, why don't you start by telling us about yourself, what you do at Tieedi?
So at Tieedi, basically it's a permaculture project that we started in 2016. So it was sort of like a personal journey that intertwined into a community project later.
Yeah.
So I'd been working outside in the cities for almost like 18 years, and Darjeeling being my hometown, I decided to move back. Um, Mostly for a couple of reasons. One was to kind of get back home, stay closer to my folks. And second was to start something on my own. And along the way, I discovered permaculture. So happened to study it, did a PDC course, and then took up this project where we had this almost 1.5 acres of this land in Darjeeling, which is next to the highway. And I would say, for lack of a better word, for almost a couple of decades, it had been a dump yard. So waste been dumped in through the community, through the municipality for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
So now, having observed permaculture projects and having volunteered in a few projects myself, we wanted to make a difference, but we didn't want to move away from the problem to make a difference, and go to a secluded place and do something in isolation. We wanted to kind of place ourselves right where the problem was and see if we could make a difference in the community. So that's where the project started. And so it's been close to the 8th year running, and it's been an interesting journey. What started off as a venture has really turned into an adventure right now.
Awesome, awesome. So what does TD stand for? That bit came to me as a very interesting little bit when we were going through your application, I remember.
So yeah, we don't really easily give it away. So, but we take them through a little. But let's say, because we don't have a two-way interaction with the guests here, so I would just like explain what it stands for. So it's based on an old Ladakhi folk song, and inspired from this documentary that I'd watched called Ancient Futures Learning from Ladakh. And there you have this old man thrashing paddy and, happy doing what he's doing. And when they are trying to evaluate the modern economic systems versus the ancient practices of Ladakh and trying to gauge whether it really made people happy or people have actually gone backward. So he's singing a song while he's threshing paddy, and it goes like ta da da, ta da da, ta da da, ta da da. So when they translate it,
Yeah.
it came on the screen as "Take it easy, easy does it." So it's actually an acronym for that. So "Take it easy, easy does it," which also is like a constant reminder for us that no matter what we take up as a project, no matter how daunting the problem may seem,
Yeah.
unless and until we have the ability to really ground ourselves and hold ourselves together, and say that we can um, let it stress us, but not let it distress us. So that's the whole philosophy of TD. That's what it stands for.
Awesome. I think that's such a beautiful reminder of slowing down and being. I think that's what nature also teaches us, to slow down and be with its space.
Right.
But with TD, I mean, it's been many years that you've been at it. It's obviously a very long-term project.
Yeah.
What has the journey been like so far? From, of course, from dirt, from it being a dumpster to now where it stands today. It's a self-sustaining environment. My friends have been there.
Mm.
So it's been a journey for you. So how has it been so far? And also, in terms of the future, where do you envision for it to go?
Um, Like I said, it's been quite eventful because what we started off even initially was to build a few mud cottages, have a few people come in and experience what we call regenerative tourism. Because see, traveling is a great thing. So I grew a lot while I was backpacking across the Indian Himalayas, and for me, traveling is one of the best ways that you can evolve as a human being. And if done right, it can also be a great way to contribute to the community that the traveler is going to. But unfortunately, uh, traveling has become more of a tourism thing, and that does a lot of damage to the place where it has been promoted so far. So irresponsible tourism and rampant consumerism in tourist places puts a lot of stress onto the fragile ecosystem that is there. So we wanted to sort of like change that. And we opened up a place initially for volunteers, where if you want to volunteer, contribute towards the project, you can come and stay here, you know. So it's been 8 years, and we're still taking in volunteers, apart from the guests of all kinds. So we have a backpacking guest who can come and stay in our forest dormitory. Then
Yeah.
we have our high-end guests who want to book, let's say, a self-sufficient tiny cottage, with a kitchen and all the amenities and all of that. So that is also possible. So, but then what happens generally in the evening is when everyone comes together and they share their journey and the ideas, it becomes like uh, an exchange where everyone feels that they grow.
Yeah.
So, uh, and there is a lot of immersion with the local community because we have almost like now we're touching 30 in terms of the total team members that's there that work on our livelihood projects, that work on our construction projects, and our big focus right now on the waste management project that is there. We finally managed to launch our Waste Innovation Center last year, which happens to be the first materials recovery facility in, I think, entire North Bengal that is there, and that promotes decentralized waste management, and that also has solutions for people to go zero waste at a household level and also at a community level. So it becomes like this, thing of on one side you're seeing a lot of beauty with natural dwellings, the forest, the birds, the owls coming in, and sometimes the black bear also visiting us and all of that. And the other side, there is the stark reality of, like, the dark side of the moon,
Yeah.
where you see piles of piles of waste that we process. So just to give you a little statistics, so last year we processed like 80,000 kgs of waste.
Wow.
So, and just being a small organization with no government support, or so that's something that I think was quite an achievement by the team.
Absolutely. I think that's incredibly, commendable. In terms of what you shared, that the entire process has been to really also get the locals involved, because that's where, you really get to starting the solving the problems. Tista, for example, has had a waste issue for many, many years now.
Right.
And you started this concept of, of course, at your property, yours plastic free and you're zero waste completely. But you've also encouraged local villages to go zero waste.
Right.
So could you share a little more about that? Who all are involved? What are the villages? What's their reaction to it?
Sure. So we've launched 3 zero waste villages so far as part of our what we call a zero waste Andolan project. So what we did is we created a framework for villages. And in this framework, we gave them a certain time period, let's say 6 months, where we say that, okay, if you come on board in this zero waste thing, we will be your partner who will take away the waste that is generated so that you don't have to dump and you don't have to burn any kind of waste. So the whole idea was there will invariably be waste that is generated, but the whole concept of zero waste means that you do not dump it, you do not burn it. So what you try and do is find and seek solutions that can take it to a place where it can be processed. Now, processed can have various meanings. It can either be downcycled, which happens in case of plastic, but it can also be a creative thing where it can be upcycled. Like we send our cigarette butts to a organization in Noida, right? So they upcycle it into cushions and all of that. So we send our sanitary pads to pet care in Pune. So they upcycle it into various products. So similarly, the whole idea of zero waste was to seek this solution so that we can connect, do the market linkages, one, and second, also do some kind of a community ownership where the community feels that they are the one taking the initiative and they need to feel proud about it. So apart from it being a zero waste village, what we've also done is we started now promoting it as a very interesting travel destination. So we hosted something called a eco trail run, which in itself was a very unique concept where people run on the forest trails and the village trails of these zero waste villages. So we got in this very niche crowd that came in to take part in this eco trail run.
Yeah.
And similarly, we are launching more projects. So we'll probably at the end of this year also do something called a Banbhat, which would be an art fest, a music fest, and a food fest, all rolled into one,
Wow.
which we've done like 5 editions so far within Tieedi itself. But this
Wow.
time we are taking it out and involving the community as part of the organizing team. So,
Mhm.
so these are the value added benefits that the community sees on just going zero waste. So the zero waste, I would say, is an entry point. After that, we are trying to solve other problems with regards to regenerative tourism, with regards to value adding the agro produce, just to name a few.
Yeah. I think Tieedi is a great embodiment of what we at Outlook RT are really trying to do, because a lot of times we hear from smaller organizations that they're really scared to venture into the space because they don't have enough resources, they don't know how to do a lot of things. But I think what Tieedi does, and which is a great way to go about it, is to A, involve the local community, and B, find market linkages. There are already people out there who are solving problems that you envision
Yeah,
for. The example that you shared for
yeah,
the cigarette recycling space in
yeah,
Noida and the
yeah,
bad recycling facility in Pune.
yeah,
I think it's about finding these people and really connecting with them and figuring out the solutions as a whole, as a unit.
yeah,
We
yeah.
can't operate in silos anymore. And what's the point, really?
Right,
Technology has
right,
afforded us the connectivity with the world. It's shrunk our world in many,
yeah,
many ways. So I think it's for us to flip it and use it to our advantage.
right.
And in terms of you, of course, I'm sure permaculture is a big draw for the people who come to Tieidi. What are the other draws for people? Are they different for your international guests and domestic guests? How do you see it?
So I think it's just the way of life, more importantly. Like we just had this guest who left in the morning today. They wanted to celebrate their child's birthday in a very unique way. So they came and stayed with us for a week. Uh, and their child's birthday was somewhere in between, but they didn't want to come in as tourists. They wanted to come in as volunteers, right? So they um, did everything that we do, right from gardening to segregation of waste to collecting fodder for the chickens to everything.
Mhm.
So I think it's the way of life that I think is the biggest draw, because even though, like I mentioned, we might be next to the highway, we've tried to create the system where, in some ways, we are going um, back in time when things were simpler, where, oh, you've got like some leftover food, there are animals within the system, and okay, there is some waste that is generated, let's take it to a community composting unit. So, and then it's a circular loop as much as you create, and that's what makes it simpler so that you don't have to go out as much to feel that you need to um, you know sustain yourself. So we are also I think another biggest draw is the design aspect of it, because I don't think many people know that we are in a steep 70-degree slope in terms of the land. It's only when they arrive here is that, they are like, where is it? And we said, okay, look down. And when they look down is when they actually see the. So a lot of it here that we do is finding those nooks and corners through good design on where do we create the living spaces, where do we create the garden beds, and how do we create the pathways, how do we conserve soil in a place that is very non-conducive to look at it at start, because when I got my permaculture guru itself to kind of have a look at the place, his first word, one word reaction was steep. In a land so steep, how are you going to do anything about it? But we've managed to create those nooks and corners, and it's been an interesting journey. So there is a lot of design and creative energy that is involved. And there is, like, I'll give you another example. That there is a couple here from Calcutta who is staying in again for a month as a vacation. So apart from doing the daily job that they do in terms of to earn their living for a few hours every day online, what they also do is help us out with, let's say, the gardening exercises, or one of them is actually working on making a very creative artistic board for us that says, "May the forest be with you." That's something that people see every time that they now leave and go out of Tieedi. So those kind of things. So
That's really sweet. From May the fourth be with you to the forest. That's a big. I'm sure in terms of TAD coming all the way in the past 8 years of its being, you've created a ripple effect. You've had your impact on the local environment, on the
Mm,
local surroundings. But I'm sure you've had your challenges along the way. Could
mm.
you share a little more on that?
I think yes, you have this initial challenge of, like, trying to immerse yourself back into the community, because this place that we are located is not the place that I grew up in, actually. So my hometown is a little further away from here, and to kind of base yourself out of this place, and then have the community resonate with an idea that they've never heard before,
Yeah,
and have them rally behind you, is something that has been quite an enriching journey. Of course, it came with its pitfalls initially, where there was a lot of inhibition with people coming in. But I think trust builds trust. I think over the years, I think when people have been working here, so some of them have actually been here from day zero with us. They've been with us, right? And we've also tried to create a very efficient professional setup while also taking it easy. I think some of the organizational structure that we have and stuff that we have launched here is something that is a very novel thing. Like, people, for instance, have the respect that they can be heard no matter who you are. Um, and also for a fact that uh, they are being part of this change. Like, I'll give you an example where whenever we are called in for awards, we do not go in terms of just like that. So what we do generally within the team is we do a lottery, and so when the lottery comes out, so if it's a man, he goes alone. If it's a woman, we send two of them. So they go and collect the award. And it's happened a couple of times where people who've never even been out of Darjeeling have gone to Delhi, they've gone to Calcutta to collect a couple of awards. And that has been really uh, like a enriching experience for them also, because you have the CEO of companies, and then you have the sustainability heads, marketing heads, and then we have this a grassroots hero who is standing beside them, and that's how we want it to be, so that they feel proud about the work that they are doing, and they feel connected to what they're doing.
yeah. That's such an innovative way to really get everyone in the spotlight, really.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
I'm sure everyone enjoys a bit of it,
yeah,
for the recognition for the work they've been doing.
yeah.
It's important to kind of make them feel at par, make them feel that they're equal parts, or equally part of the table,
Yeah.
and they have an equal seat. That's commendable. And I'm sure a lot of us can take inspiration from that and carry it forward in our own ways. So just last parting probably question. In terms of people, who come to visit TAD, would you have any advice for them before they visit you and while they're there at TAD?
I'd say read our welcome document pretty carefully. In fact, not even the welcome document, there is an about us document that we send across that very clearly states who we are and who we are not. so that people are clear that it's not really a place that I can party. Of course you can now. The meaning of party means different, right? But it's not really a place where you leave it worse than what you found it. Whoever comes here. I've seen now that also once we've created this framework, that they leave the place a lot more better than what they found it. And we've gotten a few of these structures in place that also becomes a filter. We lose out a lot of guests. People say that, oh, you don't allow smoking, you don't allow drinking, you don't even allow tobacco usage within the forest once you enter the gate. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's who we are right now, and everyone abides by it. Yeah, so even if you have to have a smoke, or even if you have to, have a drink, you step outside, because now the forest is sacred for us, and we intend to keep it that way.
Yeah, I think the moment you set your own rules, initially it might feel like an uphill task to really get out of it, but
Yeah,
I'm sure people who resonate with what you feel and
yeah.
what you feel about the forest will come your way. And that, like you said, automatically creates that filter. Wonderful. I hope a lot more people who are really aligned with what Tieedi stands for get to visit you and get a chance to interact with the community there and get to be part of the festivals that you're organizing. Thank you so much, Utsav.
So the idea of creating Tieedi was to put the permaculture ethics in practice, which is earth care, people care, and fair share into practice here at Tieedi. And we're trying to involve the local community and creating a center of excellence that makes people believe that it is possible to earn an honest living even while working with Mother Nature. So here we're not just growing a food forest, but we are also growing joy.
My name is Zaush and I am part of the team at Tieedi. I think when people ask us what's unique about the homestays at Tieedi, we tell them that this is not just a homestay, it's a stay with Mother Earth. That's because our natural dwelling based, natural material based homestays welcome every creature from the forest and as well as the humans into the atmosphere. So if you are expecting to stay in a homestay that is luxurious or is like a 5-star hotel, this is not the place for you. If you want to feel at one with nature and if you want to feel connected with Mother Earth, this is the place to be.